Yeah, so my podcast is Leading with Curiosity. I thought I would share with you why I do it, who my ideal guests and listeners are, and then just a little bit about me. Why I do it, I started it, I blogged for years in another industry, in another business that I had, and I was the so called expert. And this was the one platform that I've chosen where I don't have to be the expert at all and I can bring on people. In fact, that's a really loaded word for me these days. I think there are no experts, there's just people in practice. So, people that are somewhere down a journey with value to add to the conversation. So, I learn every single time for sure. It comes up in my coaching conversations with clients all the time, in a subtle way, things that I've learned from guests and how it threads all the elements of leadership together. It's becoming my way of being, I think, as a leader. Of course, to network with leaders and other coaches. I'm taking on projects now where I need another executive coach, and so maybe that's through this network. Naturally, the more people in business who know me and what I do and might trust me, not only my guests but people listening. Growing that network is really important, and then the credibility. To be honest, just saying, "Oh, I had a person like that on as a guest on my podcast," that catches people's attention. So it's my chosen avenue to explore and build that credibility without really needing to sell myself or brag or create a story. Who are my guests? For sure, certified executive coaches, people who don't just call themselves a coach, but who have gone through a certain amount of training, preferably with accreditation with the International Coach Federation, because then they really get what it is that we're doing. That's the ICF, International Coach Federation. Leadership development facilitators. Maybe they're not a certified coach, but they work in leadership development as an external practitioner. Senior leaders who understand what coaching is. Maybe they've worked with an executive coach for a long time, or they have programs within their organization. People who get what it means to coach in the leadership space. And then a little bit about me. I'm in my fourth career now in leadership development and executive coaching. My first was a professional athlete in hockey. Played in one of the best leagues in the world outside of the NHL in Switzerland. And then I taught for a few years in independent schools in New York City and did a master's in education in Madrid, partly because I love to travel and I got to spend 2 summers in Madrid, but even more importantly, it's just shaped the way I coach sports and approach life as a leader, as an educator. Then almost 20 years in sport development, running hockey camps, running clinics, working with volunteer coaches, that coach development angle. And that network led me to discover this executive coaching program at Royal Roads University in Victoria, Canada, which is, until very recently, was Canada's only university accredited graduate coaching program. And now I do facilitation with companies online, in person. I just came back from working with 25 wildfire firefighters up north, young high potential leaders, to energy companies, to education sector, nonprofit sector. I have a client who's runs marketing for a large international aid agency that is sending emergency supplies to the Ukraine right now. So a really wide range of clients, and it's the wide range of guests that really interests me. Probably the angle that isn't so useful is how to market yourself to be an expert, that kind of thing. Although I have a guest coming on who specializes in helping people write their first book, that to me is more interesting than how to drive leads on LinkedIn or something like that. So leadership effectiveness to me is your ability to enhance the capabilities of everyone around you. A servant leader approach. I'm fascinated by people who have led in large organizations. I haven't worked in a multinational or in a massive organization where there is so much at stake if you don't develop your leadership. So that's really interesting. I speak French, German, Swiss German, tiny bit of Spanish, travel to almost 40 countries around the world. So where culture meets leadership is also really interesting. I hope that is useful, and I look forward to exploring future opportunities with you.